It's a new year. A lot of people want to start a new practice. If you feel like you're too ADD to sit through a whole meditation, I got a couple tips for you. Hey guys, welcome back to the Bear.Of.Wands Super Awesome Spiritual Show Hour. I got some stuff for you today. So I hear people all the time, they talk about how they want to meditate, but they just can't. They just can't calm their mind. They can't sit still. They can't whatever. Well, you're in luck because I am the most fidgety person that I know. So I'm kind of like an authority on this one because now I can sit through a whole meditation. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a meditation teacher, but I've been doing this for a while and I've kind of learned how to make it through a meditation without feeling like I'm going to die. So when I was a kid, I actually had a super bad stutter. If you listen, you can actually hear a little bit of a speech impediment in the way that I speak. But as I got rid of my stutter, that started manifesting in twitches and tics and weird stuff like that. That's part of the reason I cut so much throughout my super awesome spiritual show hour, is because I twitch too much. Like my eye will get going, or I'll start cranking my neck, or all kinds of stuff. It's an issue. But now I can actually sit through an entire meditation because of these things that I picked up along the way. Because I am not a meditation teacher or a qualified teacher of anything spiritual, really, I'm going to go with the basic meditation that everybody knows. If you want to get into some deeper meditation stuff, whether it's Vipassana or TM or, I don't know, any other meditation, I thoroughly suggest that you go and find yourself a true teacher. In Tibetan Bond, we have real strict guidelines for what a teacher is and what they can do and what qualifies them as a teacher. And I am not that. But if you would like to get into those deeper practices, I really suggest you find yourself a good teacher. I'm going to go over mindfulness because it's everywhere. Everybody knows mindfulness meditation, and for the longest time, that was the only meditation that I did. For years, it was only mindfulness meditation, and I think it's a great practice. Best of all, it's a simple practice. The whole mindfulness meditation is focusing on your breath. And what I used to do was I would breathe in and in my mind say in. Then I would hold my breath and I would say hold. And I would breathe out and I would say out. And I would continue to do this, and you can do it for 5 minutes, you can do it for 10 minutes, you can do it for an hour, you can do it for 2 days, whatever you want to do. One of the other really important parts about mindfulness meditation is that you can take it and bring it throughout your day. You can do mindfulness meditation sitting, you can do mindfulness meditation while you're standing, you can do mindfulness meditation while you're walking, while you're playing basketball, while you're cooking, while you're anything. At any point in the day, you can take your mind and bring it back to the breath. And a lot of the different spiritual traditions put a lot of weight on one-pointedness of mind, right? But this has a two-part to it. Not only are you just making your mind do something, but you also have something to get your mind busy. You are saying that in your head, the in and the out, and the in and the out. And by doing that, you're kind of blocking off that thought part of your brain. You're giving it something to do. It's like if you got a dog that's just too wild, you give it a bone, and it can chew on that, and it's got something to take all that extra energy and put it towards, right? Because we have wild minds. I really hate to hear people say that, like, I can't quiet my mind. Why are you quieting your mind? What? It's like something that happened in pop culture where people think that when you sit down for meditation, the first thing you do is you have to quiet your mind. People have been meditating for 50 years. They're lucky if they can quiet their mind for 5 minutes. Don't quiet your mind. What we're doing in mindfulness meditation is we're giving it something to chew on. We're giving it something to focus everything in on. And by doing that, it may help us release some of the extra thoughts. But if you're doing mindfulness meditation and you notice you're thinking about your grocery list and you're thinking about this and you're thinking about this, so what? It genuinely does not matter if your mind goes and does all this extra stuff. You just remind yourself, oh, in, hold, out. And if you can do that and think about your grocery list, more power to you. It really doesn't matter, right? So for those of us that have an issue with quieting down our mind, I promise you, it's not about that. In mindfulness meditation, you are just focusing. You are focusing on the objective at hand. For those people that can't sit cross-legged on a pillow, don't sit cross-legged on a pillow. For those people that their back hurts when they sit up straight for too long, I used to do mine in my recliner. I would just sit my back right up against it and I would do my meditation, because you know what? My back hurts when I do meditation. Until I figured out how to set myself on a super special meditation pillow just perfectly, my back would hurt and my leg would go numb. If I was on the floor or on a pillow and I crossed my legs, both my legs would go numb and my back would start hurting. Don't do that. Just sit in a chair. The main thing that we're trying to do is focus the mind. Remember that. If you want to start a mindfulness meditation practice, we're just focusing. All that other stuff, it genuinely doesn't matter. The other one, the name of this video is Meditation Techniques for People Who Are Too Fidgety to Meditate, or something like that. I haven't came up with the title yet. But fidgety people, which is my biggest issue, as you can see with my hands and how I do all this stuff. That's because I'm sitting in a chair and it drives me nuts. When I talk to my wife, I pace around the kitchen back and forth and back and forth. I have got incredible amounts of energy that's always trying to be burned off. In mindfulness meditation, if you're fidgety, fidget. Get the spinny things for the ADD kids. Get one of those and just spin it while you're doing it, because it doesn't matter what all this stuff is doing. It's an internal practice. So if you're spinning your fidget spinner and you're saying in, hold, out, you're doing mindfulness meditation. And it's a starting point. Maybe someday you'll be able to sit cross-legged with your legs back behind your head in the Himalayan mountains and not have a thought for a year. We're not that. We're just people. We're trying to do something spiritual. We're trying to better our lives. We're trying to get all the positive benefits that you can get from meditation. It just so happens we were born with all this extra gunk. So we have to start somewhere. Don't worry, do what you're doing. The whole point is in, hold, out. All right, guys, so I got another hack tip that I want to bring for you, right? And it's mantra. Mantra is like a relatively new practice to me. Probably 3 or 4 years ago, I got into Krishna Das, and he does the big kirtans, and he's all about mantra. Before that, I just didn't care. I didn't know that it was a thing that would do anything, so I didn't bother with it. But when I got into this, it was a huge help to my meditation practice, because before I was doing like 10 minutes at a clip, and that was the best that I could do, because like I said, I am the most fidgety person that I know. But I found out if I would do a round on the mala, by the time I got to the end of it, when I let it all go and I would go back to the breath, it was like just a wash. It just took, because it's activity, it's and it has this amazing calming effect to it. I personally suggest that you do it with the mala when you're doing it, so you can do a full round on the mala. I've heard Ram Dass talk about it, and one of the things that he says that it does is it's basically reminding your mind that you're doing something, right? So when your mind forgets and it starts wandering off on your grocery list or what your kids did or what your wife did or whatever, you have this physical reminder in your hand. You're taking one bead and moving it, one bead and moving it every time you say your mantra. And that's just another way to kind of trick your mind into focusing back on it. There are other reasons that like mystical magical people know about to do special stuff when you do this stuff. Also, people in different traditions use the mala, and I have found it extremely helpful. So like I said, I prefer to start my meditation with a round on the mala, and you can pick any mantra in the world. For what we're talking about here, we are more talking on the psychological effects of doing mantra. Find one that is in your tradition and repeat it. There are Christian mantras, there are Jewish mantras, there are Hindu mantras, there are Buddhist mantras, and you can find them all online. Pick one, preferably stick with that one because then you're not learning a new thing every time. You don't have to read it off a piece of paper. You can just memorize it while you're doing your meditation. You sit down, you do a round on the mala, and then let it go. In, hold, out. And I promise you, it will have a very interesting effect on your fidgetiness while you're in your mindfulness meditation. So you can go in and just do 20 minutes of mantra. I've found when I do a lot of mantra, especially one that I'm familiar with, my mind will kind of wander and I have to keep pulling it back in. I have to keep reminding myself what I'm doing. You can definitely do it that way. You can definitely sit down for 20 minutes and you focus in on the mantra. But when you're doing it, you have to keep reminding yourself what you're doing, because it's a lot more difficult because there's a lot of moving parts. And when those moving parts become muscle memory, it kind of slips into the buzz of what goes on in your head. So keep that in mind. You can do it either way. Do it before. Make that what you do. Make that your practice. Either way, I think it's incredibly helpful. I appreciate you sticking through. I hope it was helpful. No, screw that. I know it's helpful. Do it. Do your meditation. Don't blame it on the fact that you're fidgety, because everybody's fidgety, and some people are more fidgety than others, and I'm one of the more fidgety people, so you got nothing to say. You have to admit, if you're not doing your meditation, it's because you're lazy like the rest of us. Lazy. Just like me. I didn't do my meditation today. Anyway, so don't forget I'm a psychic. Please buy my stuff. Get me on Instagram. Get me on Facebook. Oh, I got a Parlor and I got a MeWe, and nobody is on my page yet. So if you got one of those, like me over there. I'm going to be on Social Phoenix. Going to be doing that stuff. But I do Tibetan astrology. I do the other stuff with the cards and with the dice and with the I-ching. Thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the new year. It's a bright, shining new dumpster fire of a year. Say your mantra, take your vitamins, stay grateful.